Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be reading for 24 hours in order to complete my July TBR. The dumbest plan ever. You're going to destabilize this entire world. And I'm going to finish because today's the 31st. Hands in, 3, 2, 1, 24-hour reading book. I had 6 books on my July TBR and I've finished 3 of them. I have 3 left to go. Here are the 3 books that we're going to be reading in today's video, and we're going to go over them really quickly because I have 24 hours to get all of these done. We're doing a 24-hour readathon. So far, I woke up this morning. I hadn't filmed the intro yet because I was just woken from my slumber and I looked hideous. So I started reading. I read for an hour and a half this morning without telling anybody. So that is up there on the screen. I'll show you like my phone and everything. But I started a timer. I had my phone bricked. That's another thing. We are bricking my phone for the entirety of this 24-hour reading challenge because I do not need to be on Instagram. We have books to get through because I finished every single TBR that I've set for myself so far in 2026. So I have to finish this one to keep the streak going. The 3 books we have to read in today's 24-hour reading challenge are The Bridge Kingdom by Daniel L. Johnson. This is the only one that I'm currently in the middle of. I'm about halfway through. I'm immersive reading this, so audio and physical at the same time. It says I have 3 hours left in the book, so we are flying through this. I really liked it in the beginning. Now I'm kind of feeling like it's fallen off a little bit for me. I don't know if I'm going to continue on with the duology, but we'll have to see because I'm only halfway through, so things could improve. I just don't feel super connected to the characters quite yet, and that always is very helpful, especially in a romantasy. Then we have Lightwielder by Rachel Snyder. This is the second book in the Fire and Metal. Maybe is it duology? I don't know if there's going to be another book in this series. I'll Google it and I'll put it on the screen because I have no idea. I read the first book this year, I think, earlier this year in January maybe, and this is the second book and I'm really excited to get to it because the cliffhanger the end of Metal Slinger was diabolical, so I really am excited to get to this one. And then the last book we're reading is Riftborn by Greenwich and Lennox. This is starting a new book and a new series. I've never touched these authors before, so I'm going to be very excited to see kind of how it goes. I really don't even know what this is about, to be quite honest. I don't know. And we're going to go on blind. So these are the 3 books that I have to get done in today's video. We are again starting with The Bridge Kingdom. I currently have my timer paused because I'm updating you, but I'm about to go do some things I need to do. Listen to the audiobook of Bridge Kingdom, so I'm going to stop immersive reading it because I was this morning. I'm going to stop immersive reading it, just audiobook for the foreseeable because I have to go to my internship, do some shipping stuff, and then I have to go fill some little free libraries and film a video for today. And then maybe we're stopping at the bookstore, and then maybe we're stopping to get a coffee. So I have a lot of errands to run this morning. We are going to listen to my audiobook while I do all of those. Stick around for the rest of this video. Subscribe if you feel so inclined and you like book videos. And we're going to get this TBR done in 24 hours. So stay tuned because we have a long 24 hours ahead of us. While I was out running errands, I actually finished The Bridge Kingdom by Daniel L. Johnson, which is insane, but I did finish it. Unfortunately, it wasn't my favorite. I kind of knew it wasn't going to be my favorite. I heard like it was just kind of a fun time. It was fun enough, but like I really couldn't care less about continuing the series, and we actually did leave off on a pretty big cliffhanger, so I just like don't really care, which I think is a sign that maybe I'm not going to continue this series and this will be a book that I'm unhauling quite soon. It wasn't bad, it just didn't like stand out. I would say though that this is a perfect summer fantasy if you're looking for a summer fantasy to read on the beach. There are shark attacks, we are on a chain of islands like so, and it really is just a very summery fantasy. I just think it's not my favorite. If you're really new to fantasy, this might be a book that is a little bit more for you, like new to the tropes and stuff. I just like it was very predictable, and I don't know, I just like don't really care to continue on with it. It was good while it lasted, but I'm happy to leave this series here. I don't need to be in the middle of another series because I have so many that I'm in the middle of already. So if I'm not super invested in this one, I see no need to really hold on to it. And I did finish this book. I have a screenshot that I'll put on the screen at about 4.5 hours into the readathon. So that means we have about 19.5 hours to go. I've got this in the bag for sure. This one's done. We have to move on to our next book, and it's between Lightwielder and Riftborn, but I don't really know which one I want to go with quite yet. I'm thinking I want to continue the series before I start another series, so I would like to read Lightwielder I think next. That's what we're gonna do. I have some like editing and things to do today, so I might not start it until later tonight. I'm just flying through books, like I don't even know what's going on. I really hope that this lives up to the first book because I've heard a lot of people didn't like this sequel as much as they thought they would, so I'm a little bit nervous. I'm really hoping that my mind just like jumps back into the world and I don't feel like I've forgotten a lot of stuff, because it hasn't been that long since I've read the first book in the series, but it's been long enough to where I'm like, maybe I might have needed a little bit of a refresher, like watch a TikTok or something, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to see like how it goes when I jump back into the world. So we're going to start this off and see how long it takes me to get through it. Okay, so I've been reading, obviously. I'm on chapter 9, page 280. So I've gotten a good bit through this book. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not enjoying it. I am not enjoying it as much as I love this stunning edition of this book. I'm not enjoying it. I hate to say it. I just am not really liking it. I'm not really liking it. Now, why? Okay, if you don't know, Metal Slinger is the first book in this series. To be honest, I don't know if any of this is spoiler. Like, I remember Metal Slinger, but I don't remember what's technically a spoiler. I just remember like the plot and the scope of the plot. So maybe if you don't want to know anything about this, skip to this number right here and I'll be done talking about it and I'll move on to just my thoughts, no spoilers. So Metal Slinger is kind of about this girl. Her name is Bree, and she is in Alaha, which is a kingdom that's essentially around water. What you need to know about Alaha and the magic system in this world is that you need land. You need to be touching earth like dirt in order to really access your magic. So everyone who lives on Alaha doesn't know they have magic, can't access it. And so she's living there and she gets kidnapped by the prince of this other kingdom. She basically goes to a market to trade because, again, Alaha is not attached to any land, so they don't really have anything that they can eat a lot other than like fish. And so they actually go and trade in this other kingdom, I think Kenta, if I'm not mistaken. And while she's in Kenta trading, she accidentally gets like caught kind of by this guard, and there's like a little thing going on, like a little situation. And essentially, she's kind of started a war accidentally between the two kingdoms because she got to go to this like market. So she gets kidnapped and he's basically taking her to Kenta. To be honest, I don't remember why. And that's kind of the plot of the first book. So it's kind of a very summery fantasy, which is nice because it's technically summer, even though as much as I really don't want it to be. Like, this is, again, this now is non-spoiler free, by the way. Did I like Metal Slinger? Kind of. It was very kind of how do I say, like, it was a very divisive book for me because I liked the romance, I liked the vibes, but it was so utterly predictable that I guessed the plot twist. I know a lot of people were like, oh my god, crazy plot twist. I guessed it, and I'm not trying to be like I'm better than you because I guessed the plot twist, but I just thought it was so obvious. Like, I could pick out the foreshadowing a mile away. Obviously, duh. Like yeah, I guess it was a crazy plot twist in terms of like what happened, but it was very predictable at the same time. Like, the events that happened were crazy, but they were predictable. I didn't love Metal Slinger. It was good. Like, I was entertained in the last little bit where I was like, okay, now I'm actually interested in this dynamic, because before I was like, this is so obviously not real, or like this dynamic is not working for me. And so after the plot twist, I was like, okay, maybe I'll really like the second book. I think Metal Slinger was like okay, but I think the next book is going to be really good. To be honest, this book is not very good. And I think this is a kind of shared opinion online that this book is not that good. I don't know what is it. I think that we've just really went gung-ho into the political strategy right at the beginning of this book. And like, I like when there's like a theoretical war going on in a book. Like, generally that plot is kind of fine. Like, normally there's a bad guy and a good guy and we're fighting against them. Like, that makes sense. What I don't want to be is on the battleground, like feeling like I'm being put into a World War II reenactment, but it's in a fantasy world. Like, I just don't want to read heavily about, okay, and like they're in trench warfare and like blah blah blah. It's not saying that this book is trench warfare, but I'm just like, I don't want to read about a battle like I'm in the battle. I think that's why I didn't like Divine Rivals, because it was very much just war. It felt like I was in a war. I kind of like the more espionage, like that kind of side of a war. If we're going to do a war in a fantasy book, like, I don't want to be on the ground. We're literally in the battle people, right? If there's like one battle scene here and there, but the first like 150 pages of this book is them just like intense, like scheming, trying to come up with like, no one's lost land yet, and we're trying to like figure out a way to defeat them, and there's ambushes and whatever. Like, it's just, I don't care. It's not any fun to me. It's like, okay, this actually seems like real war. And if I'm on a fantasy book, I want it to be like there are dragons fighting each other and it built up all to this one battle. Like, we're not really in a multiple years of this and there's kind of a stalemate. Like, I don't need that. That's too real. I want want it to be like mythical warfare where everything's happening, all this espionage, and then one final battle and everything happens then. Kind of like Twilight. There's literally no issues in Twilight until the last battle scene. So that's kind of what I want it to be. This is not that. This is like all just like warfare talk. I'm like, okay, bored. And then we get to the part where things are happening, the characters are together, we're like doing stuff, and then there's still all this battle strategy, and they're just like kind of a repeat of the second book. They're just in a different font, and the characters know more knowledge. This is why I didn't like Golden Sun too. It's like, why are we doing the same book over again? Come up with a more original plot line. Also, there was like, maybe it's because it's been so long between the first book and the second book, I like really easily picked up kind of all the information that I needed to know, that I was like, maybe I forgot that. Picked all that up. There are some characters that I'm like, was I supposed to remember them? Because I didn't think they were that significant, or like I recognized their name, but they didn't really have a significant involvement in the plot. And then they just start throwing these people's names out like they were big fat deals in the last book. And I'm like, we barely had any side characters in the last book. That's not true. I remember three significant side characters that are in this book heavily, but then there's like 2 extra ones that I'm like, okay, we just got thrown these names at us, and I'm like, I don't remember these people being significant enough. I don't know how to explain this. In the first book, there are 3 significant side characters: Kai, Messer, and Bree. No, not Bree. Bree's the main character. What's her name? It's the sister, right? And those are the 3 significant side characters. In this book, there's like 2 extra people that I'm like, there was no explanation as to why these people were like introduced, because they weren't significant previously. So like, I didn't remember them. So I was kind of confused about that. And then what other information is important? There was only one option of a person to be quote unquote untrustworthy. So obviously if something happens, it's going to be them. And I guessed it. And I was like, okay, I guess another plot twist in this series. Like, what? And then I looked up earlier today if there was going to be a 3rd book in this series, or if it was just 2, and thank God it's just 2. Apparently she might come out with more books in this universe, which I'm trying to think if I would be inclined to read those or not. Like at the moment, probably no. Depends on how this book ends. But like, I'm really not seeing, they just kind of introduced like the actual plot and plan of this entire book, and I'm not really seeing how it's gonna end. It's kind of a dumb plot. I hate when fantasy characters are like dismantling the quote unquote patriarchy. It's not the patriarchy, but like the evil powers that be in the book. And I'm like, that literally sounds like the dumbest plan I've ever heard. The dumbest plan ever. You're going to destabilize this entire world. You're gonna throw it all into, like, this would be anarchy. I just don't understand. I don't understand. Like, this sounds like the worst plan ever. And I guess, like, yeah, they're like 19, 20. And I mean, that's how old I am. I'm 21. So it's like, I guess if I had to come up with a plan to like save the entire world, it probably wouldn't be that good. But that's why I'm not doing it. I'm not in charge of that. So like, your dumb plan, you 19-year-olds, is like, well, I guess maybe they're like 25 now. So that maybe actually makes it worse because their brains are fully developed. So like, I'm really just not seeing how this plan is any good, to be honest. And maybe that's why maybe this book is not going to have a good ending. And that's fine. Last thing I have about this book that I'm like not loving, the timing of like where we started off, because it feels like we just jumped right into a battle that happened right after the first book. That's not true. Apparently, it's been like 4 years. It's been like 4 years, and I don't think that's a spoiler because it's like the beginning of the second book, so you don't really know the plot twist, but you just know that there's a time jump. Like, the time jump is just, it doesn't feel like there's a time jump. Like, literally, there's been no character development. Nothing has happened that actually made it feel like there has been a time jump, other than the fact that we're told, hey, there's been a time jump. If you're going to do a time jump, this is, again, how I felt about Golden Sun in the Red Rising series. If you're going to do a time jump, it needs to actively feel like time has passed. The characters need to have developed some new sort of character traits, knowledge, something. 4 years have passed. Their brains actually have fully developed. We went from 19 to 24, 25. Frontal lobe is now there, so something needed to click. Nothing clicked. Still really dumb. You need to make me believe that there's a time jump, other than telling me, oh, this is what happened politically. None of our characters seem any different. There's been no relationship developments in terms of like friendships, in terms of like side characters. Nothing is developed with these characters. Nothing's happened. They're in a stalemate in this war. So for 4 years, they've been essentially doing nothing, and you can tell because the characters haven't developed at all. So it's like, if you're going to tell me there's a time jump, there needs to be actively a time jump, and it make it feel like it. Just not because you told me, because it actually feels like time has passed for these characters. You know what I mean? Anyways, I'm gonna stop ranting about this book because like, I'm not actually actively disliking it. Maybe I am a little bit. Maybe this check-in has made me realize that I am actively disliking it. It's really more like I'm invested enough to continue, and I want to see what happens, but there are like gaping plot holes and things that I'm noticing that I'm like, that doesn't actually make sense, or this sounds like a bad idea. I'm kind of listening and reading to it and being like, I don't know if that was the best choice. And then I keep going because it's interesting enough for me to actually like finish it and know what happens, but it's not good objectively or like engaging. I'm just like kind of listening to it as if it's a podcast a little bit. So do with that what you will. I've kind of become so detached that I don't really want to sit down and read it particularly because like it's not worth my time in that way. I'd rather use this as a background sound to other things that I actually have to get done. And like I said, we're 10 hours in. So we have 14. I don't know if I said that actually. If I didn't say it, we are 10 hours in. I put the screenshot up and we have 14 hours left to go. 100% gonna finish this. Absolutely. This I think will take me like 3 more hours to finish. If that. This I'm gonna guesstimate like 9. So we're gonna be cutting it close. Normally I can read about 3 books in a 24-hour span. So we're gonna be cutting it close, but very possible for me to finish this. So as long as I didn't just leave my timer running, I hope I didn't while I was updating. But I'm gonna keep listening to this. I have an event to go to tonight, so I have to go do that. And you're not coming with me because that's not the point of this video. I'm gonna go to the event, come back, watch Big Brother, read a little bit tonight. Tomorrow, big reading day for me. Big reading day for me. And today is the 28th. So I have, 29th. It's 29th. So I have the 30th and the 31st to finish these 2 books. So I'm like making good time. I literally had no faith in myself at the beginning of this video and I'm gaining faith. I'm gaining faith. So that's good. Other than that, I have nothing else to say to you. I started burning my fall candle. Delish, smells great. Love a fall candle. Please let it be fall. This book is not doing anything for the fall vibes, and you know what? That's fine. Probably should read my summer books because it's still summer, but I don't want to. It's fall. To me, I'm feeling the fall. So anyways, I'm gonna keep reading until I have to go to this event, and then I'm gonna read after it, and you'll probably see some of that at some point. But I probably won't update you again until tomorrow because I'll be dead on my feet. So good talk. Hands in. 3, 2, 1, 24-hour reading vlog. We're gonna get back to it. Love you. This is not good. Like I'm so bored. I'm officially done with Lightwielder, and to be quite honest, I did not love this book, and I think probably anyone watching this would know that because I just like went on a really long rant about how I wasn't liking it. So this is finished, and unfortunately, it was not my favorite, but that's okay. It's okay. I am moving on to the next book. We're moving on. Clean slate. If I had to guess what I was going to rate this, I would say probably a 2 stars. Nothing about this was super redeemable for me. It was fine enough to be able to get through, but I wasn't like actively enjoying my time reading it. I'm going to stop talking about it. I don't think I need to harp on it anymore. So we're gonna go over the next book in this video. I've unfortunately messed up the timer. I unfortunately let it go through the night when I wasn't reading, which was not the goal because I don't know if I actually have no idea if I said this, but I'm stopping the timer when I eat and sleep, do other things because I have to go to work and things like that. So I'm stopping the timer when I do that. So we were on 14 hours when I updated you and screenshotted the timer last. It took me 2 extra hours to finish that book. So approximately we're at about 16 hours into the video. And then that means we have 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 8 more hours to go, theoretically, right, to finish this video. So we're going to try and get this next book done in 8 hours time. And it's the last book we have to finish on my TBR, which is Riftborn by Greenwich and Lennox. I don't really know what this is about, so I'm going to read the back to you because I actually don't know. All I know is that it went viral on TikTok, and then I immediately ordered all of the indie editions when I found out that they were being tried published, as one does. So it says, he was striking in a cold-blooded kind of way, like his beauty was tinged with poison, unassuming, alluring even. I brought my eyes up to meet his. Via Riftborn, the words dripped from his lips like blood from a dagger. 20 years after a rebellion branded her an outcast, Via Riftborn navigates a city. Okay, we probably moved a little bit, but I had to answer my doctor. They were calling me. Anyways, 20 years after rebellion branded her an outcast, Thea Riftborn navigates a city rife with prejudice so deep it's often deadly. But she harbors a secret, one that would paint an even larger target on her back. A hidden power within her is growing, threatening to destroy everything she built for herself. Enter the elusive Side General Lark Ashford, big fat name, I'll put it on the screen, who is building a unit of powerful wielders within the guard to face a growing threat. Wraiths of darkness devour the western border, leaving a trail of death and destruction in their wake. When Fia's power erupts and 2 daughters of nobility are seemingly dead, General Ashford offers her a chilling choice: join the side guard or face execution, because Fia might be the only hope for the Isle's survival. Torn between surrendering to the chaos or becoming a weapon for those who took everything from her, Fia must confront her growing feelings things for the general and face a dark truth that could shatter everything she's ever known. This is about 400 pages even. I don't know how long it's going to take me, but hopefully under 8 hours because that's all we have left. We're going to get reading with this, and I'm going to let you know how it's going when I get a little bit into it. But thank God we're on the last book of the video. We have 2 more days. It's the 30th today, and we have the 31st tomorrow. Yay. So we're definitely going to finish this in 24 hours. We'll see. But by the end of the month, yes. Okay, I have a few updates and not all of them are good. Actually, most of them are not good. I don't even know how far I am into this book because I've been listening to it on audio mainly this morning. I was doing an immersive read and then I started listening to it on audio while I was doing errands and making breakfast and whatever. I don't really know what time period we're in because I'm a little bit uncomfortable with like the time period because I don't know how we're getting around, like horse and buggy. Do we have phones? I know we don't have phones. Like I'm a little bit confused. We're using some modern language that doesn't exactly make sense in the time period if it's not modern, like the hype around something or this is so cringe or things like that. And then also another thing that I'm noticing, so how does this world work? Basically we have the Isle, and the Isle is made up of 2 parts. I'll show you the map in the beginning of the book. This is the Isle and it's made of 2 parts. We have Luminaria, the big section in the middle, and then we have Riftborn, this little like section up there. And essentially the people from Riftborn like staged an uprising. They were like not very happy with Luminaria, and so there's a lot of prejudice against. Okay, my camera keeps shutting off. I'm sorry if it moved, but holy shit, I'm gonna keep going. The people from Riftborn, the Riftborns, have prejudice against them from the Luminarians, I guess is what you would maybe call them. And all of these people are the Aishi, which are like an elven, fae-like people. All of them have, or most of them have, powers, and they come from the Esprit. The Esprit is like the magic that runs through the world, and everyone has a little bit of it. You could have a gift like you're inclined to be very good at fashion, or maybe you can control lightning. Like it's very random. There's an abundance of gifts. It doesn't seem like there's much rhyme or reason to said gifts. Like you'd really have anything. And they call them, what do they call them? I don't know. Point is, everyone has a special power. Our girl has a power. She doesn't really know how to control it and she doesn't really know what it is, but she can kind of like break minds. She gets kind of picked up by the general and he's like, I'm going to train you because this seems very valuable. There's like an unknown threat in this world that we're kind of trying to fight against. That is not like the Riftborns, because that's kind of historically been the issue in the kingdom, quote unquote. That's kind of going on, right? There is a glossary of sorts in the front of this book. So it has all of the words and like the things I've explained to you thus far. Now, none of these are actually explained to you in the text of like the actual novel. It's only explained in the glossary. And when there's a glossary in a book and the author uses the glossary as an excuse to not have to explain the world because you can go look it up in the glossary, like that's not what the glossary is for. You should still have to world build so that if, God forbid, I'm only listening to this on audio, I don't have like the ability to flip back to the beginning because it didn't read out the glossary for me. So like you don't know what's going on. Just like extenuating circumstances, right? You should still be able to understand the context of the world without having to look in the glossary. And I feel like that's what's happening with this. Our main character kept being like, holy Esprith, or like basically instead of saying like, oh my god, it's like the gods of this world, they are called the Esprith kind of. It's like the Esprith is what she's referring to kind of. So she's like, oh my Esprith, or like stuff like that. And I, for the longest time, did not know what that was. Like it was never explained. And then I went to the glossary and I was like, okay, I get it now. But I shouldn't have to refer to the glossary to understand a main concept in this world, the gods and the Esprith and the magic. Like I shouldn't have to do that. And I feel like just generally the world building is pretty weak. I also really don't like in fantasy worlds when they use the main character's ignorance as a tool to world build. Like theoretically, if our main character has grown up in this world and kind of has a context of how the world around her works, which is true for this main character, she should not be so clueless as to how the world works that people have to explain to her as in like a crash course to our main character so that we as the readers understand the world. It's like a device for world building, except for it's not believable because our main girl has grown up in this world and the people around her have knowledge of all these things that they're telling her, but somehow she doesn't. Like somehow she is ignorant to all of these things. Like simple things like the guard isn't in charge of road blockades and stuff like that. Like she's like, what? Like what's the faction? Like so we understand as readers, but actually it's like that doesn't make sense because she's grown up in this world. There's no reason why she wouldn't know these things naturally, right? So you have to find another way to world build it to us, but that's how this book is doing it and it's making me mad. Can you tell I'm mad? My god, this clip has not been going to plan because things keep going wrong and then I have to like restart the camera. Anyways, what else do I have to say to you? I've calmed down, I've breathed a little bit, so I'm a little bit more calm. I think those are the main things that like I was really confused or like didn't like. I'm not exactly not liking the characters or like the plot necessarily. I just think it's kind of a weakly written book. in terms of like the fantasy, the world building. It feels very, I want to say like, if you know the writing of Zodiac Academy, that's what I'm going to start comparing things to, because I feel like that's a pretty universal like book in terms of people. A lot of people know what I'm talking about when I say that. The writing style, it's a little bit, I hate to say it, trashy. And I do love Zodiac Academy. Like the writing style of that, as it's not very good, like objectively, makes sense in context for a lot of things. Like it's not necessarily means it's a bad book. It just means that the writing is poor. And I love Zodiac Academy, so like the writing can be poor and I still love a book, but I just feel like in this, the devices that we're using to build the world don't necessarily make sense. And then also it's not consistent with the modern language. She was talking about, oh, I get the hype or I don't get the hype. And then like cringe. Oh, this is so cringe. If you're gonna set your like if it's going to be a, what's that thing called? Frick, I'm forgetting it. Like the fantasy where it's set in the modern day world. You know what I mean. I'm forgetting the word right now, but I'll put it up on the screen. If it's that type of fantasy, like it makes sense, but to my knowledge, it's not. There's no phones, there's no technology, there's like candles for light. So I'm like, there's no way that we have TikTok and have the word hype or cringe. It's taking me out of the story. But I'm gonna keep reading because I'm determined to finish this today. I will, okay, the 24 hour of this video has kind of completely gone out the window, and I accept that. But like, I will have finished this within 24 hours of reading when I finish it. Like 100%. I've calculated the hours. I just don't have a timer going. So just in your mind, remember like we have about 3 hours left of the 24-hour timer, and I have like 2 hours left of this book. So I'm really gonna beat it. I'm really gonna beat it, and I'm gonna finish because today is the 31st. I was really contemplating DNFing this book, but then I remembered, me being the impulsive book buyer that I am, I've bought the second two in this series. So I'm gonna give it a chance all the way through, because I'm like, maybe it'll turn around and then I'll really want to read the next two books, because otherwise I'm like, I bought those for no reason. But it's fine. It's fine. We're gonna keep going. That's all I have to say for right now. I'm just not sure I'm loving it, unfortunately. I'm sitting here editing this video and I did not end it, so I'm going to really quickly give you kind of a recap of the video and my ratings. I read 3 books in this video. I read The Bridge Kingdom by Daniel Jensen, the second book in the Fire and Metal duology, which was Lightwielder, and I read Riftborn by Greenwich and Lennox. The other two I've already kind of given you my thoughts on, but I ended up rating The Bridge Kingdom, I think 2.5 stars, and then I rated Lightwielder, I think a 1.5, and then I rated Riftborn a 3 stars. So what kind of happened with Riftborn is the beginning, the whole first book was kind of like really boring, and I thought it was like kind of bad, and then the ending kind of reframed the whole thing for me, and I was like, okay, I kind of get why we were going through all that in the first book. I went on to read the second book and it was a lot better. It wasn't like a 5-star or anything for me, but it was a lot better. So I read the second book, not in this video obviously, but after. It was like, okay, I would recommend it to get to the second book, but that's something I hate, is when you make me read your first book. That's kind of not the whole point of the series, and it's also bad. Like, I'm okay if you fake me out, but you have to fake me out and like make me want to enjoy the whole book, because I can't just read the first book to get to the second book, because that feels like a waste of time to me. But that's all kind of I have for you in this video. Subscribe to this channel if you like bookish videos. I'm so sorry, this kind of felt really chaotic, and it probably was. I don't know what happened. It just felt like a really chaotic video. I don't know, but hopefully it was fun. Check out the message to the book besties in the description, and I will see you in another Sunday video on another Sunday. So